Hey folks, this is Matt once again. If you're wondering what I'm doing, of course, this is another episode of the IMDB Files, where I look at films that are the lowest rated films of that year, picking random. Actually, someone had asked me about 1989, so I'm looking at the lowest rated films of 1989. Now, probably the lowest one on IMDb, it's Identity Crisis, which gets a 1.7. Nothing to do with the new film Identity Crisis. This is a film directed by Melvin Van Peebles, starring his son Mario Van Peebles. And I like Mario Van Peebles. I like him in films, for example, Gunman. I love Gunman with him and Christopher Lambert. Exterminator 2, I don't mind. Mario Van Peebles, Full Eclipse. That's another one I like. But Identity Crisis is a comedy where the tagline says, I shit you not, when they switch brains, a girly man turns a ladies' man into a wild man. The story. On the night of a big fashion show, world-famous French designer Yves Malmaison is poisoned. The same night, his murderers are trying to kill Chili D, a member of the popular rap group The Funky Four. As Fancy dies on the street. Who the hell is Fancy? Whoever wrote this synopsis? You gave out two names, now all of a sudden you're throwing Fancy out. As Fancy dies on the street, a midget witch, grateful to him for handing her a beer earlier in the night, tries to do something to save him. The next day, as the body of Yves Malmaison is buried, his soul wakes up to find himself in Chili D's body. Both souls are trapped inside the rapper's body, and every time he suffers a blow, they switch personalities. A tough black rapper becomes a fruity fashion designer and then back again. So we have midget witches, rappers who become girly designers, fashion designers, back to rappers. Oh, Richard Fancy plays Yves Malmaison. That's why the guy who wrote the synopsis said that. And Marvin Van Peebles plays Chili D, as in what? Chili Dick? What more can I say that the plot didn't say? A rapper and a fashion designer, they go to a club and they. The next film, which gets a 1.8, Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 2, with Mel Wells, Robert Jane, and David Carradine. Wizards of the Lost Kingdom. Apparently, this was a film that got a sequel, which again, the sequel gets a 1.8. I swear I saw this way back in the day once. And I sure as hell don't remember a damn thing about it. Maybe it was a different movie, though. Might have been a different movie than this, actually. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A film that gets 1.9, which I've seen. Adam Sandler's worst film. This is his worst film. Going Overboard. I have seen this film. I was going to review it long ago, and I just gave up on it. That's how bad it is. It has Adam Sandler, and the world of comedy, it's sink or swim. Directed by Valerie Breeman, which I guess she was an actress. She directed Bikini Squad, Love and Sex, Overnight, and an episode of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV show. Billy Zane has a small role in this. Billy Bob Thornton has a blink and you'll miss it. He's in like one scene. This is a just terribly unfunny movie. A struggling young comedian takes a menial job on a cruise ship where he hopes for his big chance to make it in the world of cruise ship comedy. What I remember about the film, I remember at times it cuts to Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky, playing General Noriega, who has these videotapes of, what was it, the pageant. Miss America pageant entries, which really there's no reason for him to be in the film. And like Adam Sandler, he has his shitty job. He wants to be a comedian, a stand-up comedian. It's on this ship, and then at the beginning, he talked about how he's trying to be like Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, talking to the camera, breaking the wall, and it just does not work in this instance. It's really unfunny. Yeah, you see some familiar faces. Like I said, Adam Sandler, Billy Bob Thornton in one scene, Peter Berg you see a little bit of, Billy Zane you see a little bit of, as Teen Neptune. Don't ask. Yeah, this trivia says it all. Adam Sandler was so embarrassed by this film, his first starring role, that is not listed on his filmography on his official website. Like I said, this is Adam Sandler's first feature film. The production was shot entirely on a cruise ship going from New Orleans to Cancun. The ship was going to the Miss Universe pageant and was filled with beauty queens from all over the U.S. The camera crew forgot to bring a box of lenses on the ship, so the director of photography was forced to shoot with the wrong lenses. And most of that he says, Adam Sandler's character, most of that he says that, hey, we got this cruise ship, and that's how we're shooting the film. It just, and then you have this other stand-up guy who's an asshole, and he just locked in the toilet, and he's trying to get out, and he thinks he's going to die, and budget $200,000. Adam Sandler enjoyed working on this movie so much due to this being his first leading actor appearance. He ate lunch with the director constantly, drank frequently with his co-stars, and cried when he ended filming. Well, he probably cried when he saw it, too. 2 days after production ended, he got so drunk with the director they were charged $2,000 for charges to a hotel room. On the end of one of the bills it said, "We won't charge you for the fecal stains on the mattress. We deal with those a lot here." Only the director recalls the story. Adam Sandler denies it to this day. Well, of course he denies it. He's a big movie star now. Even if you don't like the film, well, maybe not lately, but he's made quite a few films that were hits. But Going Overboard, it is his worst film. It's even worse than Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill, I could say, I at least laugh at the Al Pacino scene at the end when he goes, "Burn this." Going Overboard doesn't even have that. It just really, really no budget film and severely unfunny. I just did not want to review it, and now I've forgotten the movie, so I don't care. A film that gets a 2.17 called Skinheads. A group of students traveling to California are menaced by a vicious group of skinheads in the Colorado mountains. A World War II vet living in the mountains comes to their rescue. I don't mind the idea. A group of students in the mountains being fucked with by skinheads. Okay, World War II vet fucks up the bad guys. It's a plot I don't mind. Directed by a guy named Graydon Clark. That name sounds familiar. Oh, he directed that film that I always wanted to give a look, Without Warning. People say, with Jack Palance. People say it's like Predator before Predator. Scream Factory came out with I think like a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. That's what I would like to pick up. So hey, if anyone has a Blu-ray or DVD and you don't need it, feel free to let me know. I'll ask. But yeah, I wouldn't. That's one. Seriously, that's one I would not mind giving a watch, Without Warning. Jack Palance and Martin Landau. Kevin Peter Hall playing the alien creature. Low budget film. David Caruso has a tiny role. I've heard a lot about Without Warning, but I wouldn't mind giving that a look. See, Final Justice. I've heard a lot of shit about that. Bad stuff. But this is a film he directed, Skinheads. Stars Chuck Connors, Jason Culp. I don't know the plot. It doesn't sound that bad from the plot, but Doesn't mean the movie's good, but I'm just saying the plot itself doesn't sound that bad. Another film called Ghost Can't Do It. Well, why would they? Just because your ghost doesn't. Gets a 2.2, starring Bo Derek and directed by John Derek. I wonder if John Derek is connected with Bo Derek. Ghost Can't Do It. The film is listed among the 100 most amusingly bad movies ever made in Golden Raspberry Award founder John Wilson's book, The Official Razzies Guide. It was nominated for Worst Picture at the Hastings Bad Cinema Society's 13 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards in 1990. I guess Anthony Quinn and Julie Newmar they're in this as well. Scott and Kate are married and very much in love with each other. Scott is more than 60 years old, while Kate is at least 30 years younger. When Scott dies, his soul cannot get peace, and he becomes a ghost only Kate can see and speak with. Scott wants to return to life, and him and Kate hatch a plan to let a young man drown so that Scott can take over his body. Wow, what a bunch of assholes. The other guy who dies is Anthony Quinn. Bo Derek is one who's 30 years younger. Wow, what a bunch of jerks. Now more I can see. Some film called Tax Season 2.5 starring a guy named Beano. Beano? OTA. Oh yeah, this piece of shit. Lords of the Deep, which gets a 2.7. This is a bad movie that I ranted on. It's still up on my channel. It deserves a 2.7 or lower because I was reviewing a bunch of films from 1989. In fact, I gotta redo some of that. I mean, not Leviathan because I did a long review of Leviathan, but Endless Descent I gotta do one day, and maybe redo a review of The Abyss. Because I did reviews of Deep Star System Leviathan, which I like those two, and I do like The Abyss, but Endless Descent I actually didn't mind. I gotta do a review for that. As you can tell, I'm talking more about them than this movie. It's a Roger Corman production, and to be honest, it's more in tone with The Abyss than a horror film. It stars Priscilla Barnes and Bradford Dillman, and there's this laboratory in the ocean, and these aliens that look like stingrays, or manta ray stingrays, that have really cheap-looking eyes. They're actually there for good. And kind of like The Abyss, they want to see if we're decent folks or not. And Bradford Dillman, I think he's like an asshole, pretty much trying to be like Michael Biehn. He's the guy who's there. Oh, I got fucked with these aliens, and I remember one guy which I said was Porno Mustache Man, 70s Porn Stash Man, is our hero. And the aliens are good guys. They help Priscilla Barnes breathe at one point. I remember there was a lot of talking, a lot of talking, a lot of talking. And being a very fucking boring movie. I did a rant on the film. It's still up on my channel. If you type in Lords of the Deep on my channel, you'll find it. It was a horrible film. Dirt cheap, dirt. But even Roger Corman films, there have been some films that are good. Not this one, but even stuff he produced. Carter Store 2 and 3 I like. Galaxy of Terror I like. Even Forbidden World I'll watch over this. But yeah, Lords of the Deep. There's a film called Russian Terminator. Not the Terminator, a Russian Terminator. It was played by Ivan Drago. Which gets a 2.8. Some film with John Philip Law. Well, Uli Lamel action film called Cold Heat, which gets a 2.8. Some film called Midnight from 1989 that gets a 2.8 with Lynn Redgrave and Tony Curtis. More than a time of night, the time when comedy turns to fright. A devilish comedy. Oh, really? Oh, Frank Gorshin is in this as well. Wolfman Jack is himself. The sultry midnight late-night horror movie hostess has the highest-rated show on TV. Okay, a horror movie hostess will never be the highest-rated show on TV. It just never happened. Mr. B is scheming to steal the rights to the show. The tug of war begins and soon escalates to a deadly conflict. Will Midnight have to get a day job and change her name to High Noon? Wow. Ha ha. Yeah, because Midnight and High Noon. Surprised they didn't get Elvira the star in this. The cover looks like she's trying to. Well, it just looks like something that Elvira would do. A film called Martians Go Home. I remember the trailer to this. Looked horrible. 2.8 on IMDb. Yeah, Randy Quaid is a songwriter. Accidentally caused millions of green Martians to invade Earth. They're not dangerous, they're just wisecracking, intrusive, pain in the ass annoyances. Yeah, I remember the trailer to this. Yeah, it was just a bunch of people. Pretty much the Martians were wannabe comedians. I remember the trailer, and they just had green paint. That's all it was. Green paint, nothing else. Margaret Collin, John Philbin, Ronnie Cox, Dean Devlin had a role in this. I think Rob Schneider, this was like his first film he was in. God, even his first film, it was a shitty movie. But the guy who directed this, that's not the same movie, is it? No. Oh yeah, he wrote a film called Running Scared, but it's a 1981 with Ken Wall and Judge Reinhold. This was the first actual film he directed. He had directed 2 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side. And he wrote the screenplay for The Dark Crystal, Supergirl, Masters of the Universe. Well, those are better than this movie. This movie just looked god awful from the trailer. Shot Troop, 1989 film, which gets a 2.9. With Danny Aiello and Lyle Elzado. Lyle Elzado, I remember from Destroyer. He was a football player and he passed away. I believe that was Lyle Elzado. Danny Aiello? I remember him from films like Jacob's Ladder. The Special Commando Delta Force is sent behind the line of fire into the terrain of the enemy. Their mission goes to destroy a base where the enemies prepare a new weapon, a combat helicopter. He used to fight for his country. Now he's fighting for himself, and nothing's going to stop him. Well, everything that I heard doesn't sound a 2.9 bad. I mean, I don't know why it's that bad. I mean, I'm just saying from the plot, it doesn't sound like a 2.9 bad. That's all. Some film called Blood Red with Eric Roberts and Dennis Hopper. It's a drama, romance, western. Blood Red. The history is a Sicilian family who immigrated to America years ago and now lives in California cultivating vine? You mean wine? Synopsis? Problems start when they have to confront themselves with a powerful landowner who... Who the hell wrote this? Comports like the local boss. What the fuck does it even mean? They came to a country to plant their dreams. Now they're prepared to die for them. Well, at least they did not wet their dreams. Well, if you plant them, you gotta wet them. Plant your dreams, then wet dreams. Goes hand in hand. Power Games, a friend of mine named Efrey saw this film, which is a 2.9. I think he would say it's too high. He thought it was a total piece of shit film. A group of teenagers training for the National Power Commando Championship Games mistakenly find themselves on land owned by drug merchants. With only harmless paint bullets as their weapons, they must match their skills against live ammunition and the ruthless men behind it. I remember him telling me that this was just a really shitty film. Could have been a good idea. Paintballers going up against real bad guys with real bullets. And this had a fucking downbeat ending. And it was a fucking bullshit movie. So fuck that. See, some film called Hellgate, which gets a 3 out of 10, which is on a 2-pad DVD with The Pit. This is the one my friend Mike was telling about. He didn't, not sure if he saw it, but sorry, I'm not saying anything. I'm seeing what this guy has done before. He's been a writer. Did the original screenplay of Night Patrol, Monaco Forever. He directed Blackenstein, State Town, USA. Oh, he directed that film Monaco Forever, which appears with Van Damme. It appears with Van Damme as Dave Karate Man. Yes, Van Damme was in a movie where he was Dave Karate Man. And this guy directed that. And he directed this. I swear, this is the one where there was an advertisement that said it was from the effects guys who brought you Hellraiser. Yeah, on this poster for Hellgate, it says, from the special effects team behind Hellraiser and Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. So I did this. Guys who did special effects for Hellraiser worked on this. A motorcycle gang kidnaps a young woman, Josie, from a diner and brutally kills her. Many years later, the girl's father finds a magic crystal that can bring the life back to dead objects. He uses it to reanimate his daughter. He lets her seduce any young man that comes to visit the small town and then kills them. Kind of does remind me of Hellraiser. It was a person who died and came back, seduced people and killed them. So in that film, so it give more skin and shit. Reanimate itself more and more. 4 young students, 2 boys and 2 girls, spend a vacation near the town Hellgate. They hear about the story and get involved. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be a 3 out of 10 bad, but it's not what I want to see anytime soon. Food of the Gods 2, which gets a 3.0. I don't know why that film got a sequel. Well, technically, Gnaw, Food of the Gods Part 2. This one, I think the first one, there was a lot of stuff that was getting bigger, but this one is just rats. A growth hormone experiment gets out of hand when the resulting giant man-eating rats escape, wreaking havoc on the unsuspecting campus. I forget, was this one or another one where the big rats went into a swimming pool and stuff in the sewers, and I remember seeing this, but I don't remember a damn thing about it, so sequel in name only. Oh, capitalize on the Food of the Gods. Hope that worked well for you. And Damien Lee. Of course, it's directed by Damien Lee. Damien. Well, he's named Damien. So you watch his movies, you go to hell. Or the movies from hell. Damien Lee. Because you watch his movies, it is a hellish experience. He's the guy who directed Agent Red with fucking Dolph Lundgren, which is one of Dolph Lundgren's worst fucking films. He produced Death Wish 5, which I fucking hate. He produced Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe, which is a unbelievably horrendous flick. Shit. A film that gets a 3.1 called Ninja Academy. Police Academy style film offers its laughs at the expense of students of the obvious school for ninjas. So it's Police Academy but with ninjas. Really? Yeah. I thought I said Robert Forster, but it's Robert Factor. So this is a comedy. Yeah, I gotta see what this is. Apparently released as a 5 years too late cash in on the Police Academy craze, Nico Mastorakis, who also brought us Glitch and .com for Murder, saw fit to put Ninja Academy on the screen. The movie combines the idiotic wackiness of the Police Academy movies with the kind of directorial judgment you'd expect from someone with advanced Alzheimer's. Man, I thought it was rough. Not to mention one of the doughiest, most idiotic villains ever seen in a martial arts film. Humor is aimed at second graders, boasts too much nudity and dirty language to be shown to them. Nico Mastroianni never intended to actually direct the film, but on the second day of shooting, after seeing that some of the dailies turned out to be not so great, he fired the original director and took over as director. Ninja Academy, wow. So there's a police academy type movie, but with ninjas. I like the police academy films, at least the first four. If someone goes, why don't you review them? Well, how do you review a police academy movie? I mean, how do you review it? I mean, it's hard to review a comedy, let alone a police academy film. I enjoy the first four. With Steve Gutenberg, when he left, the series sucked. Let's see, a film called Beverly Hills Vamp, which is a 3.1, which has Britt Eklund, Eddie Deason, Tim Conway Jr., Michelle Bauer, Jay Richardson. A trio of geeks go to Hollywood to make a movie and are bored one night, so they get some hookers to have some sex. Unfortunately, the hookers like to drink blood. I like that the plot keywords are breaking the fourth wall, green blood, hot tub, priest, gay joke. Taglines: priest, gay joke. Well, my friend Mike and will watch that. Beverly Hills Vamp. Okay, I don't need to see that movie. Daily Reactor with David Heavener directing and starring. Gets a 3.1. And a post-apocalypse world inhabited by the Amish. Post-apocalyptic world inhabited by the Amish. The Amish. Action sci-fi western, but no comedy tag, so apparently it's not a comedy. I don't need to read the rest of it. Oh, speaking of 1989, another one which I reviewed and ranted on, The Evil Below. This is, I think, the 1989 underwater movies. I'm like, which is worse, Lords of the Deep or Evil Below? And I think I summed up that it was Evil Below, which gets a 3.2, so it gets a higher rating than Lords of the Deep, but they both suck ass. They both deserve lower ratings. Plot synopsis. What was the plot of this again? A down on his luck sea captain goes treasure hunting for a wrecked Spanish galleon that is rumored to be cursed by God and protected by supernatural forces. This is one of those films that seem like nothing happened for the longest fucking time. Like, literally, it seemed like nothing happened. It didn't even seem like a horror movie. That's the thing. It didn't really seem like a horror. It seemed more like The Deep with Nick Nolte. It seemed more like that film than something that's The Evil Below. Some things are better left alone. Again, it felt more like The Deep, that film, than... You want to see a horror movie called Below? Just watch a film called Below. Takes place in a submarine. I actually liked it. That was pretty good. Things by David Dewey. Fuck that movie. I already ranted on a movie, still on my channel. Frank Stallone was in a movie called The Master of the Red Death, which is a 3.2. Master of the Red Death as in Edgar Allan Poe. Well, some photographer arrives at a Master of the Red Death party. Mayhem ensues as the sort of Poe story devices start doing away with the guests. Stars Frank Stallone. Has Frank Stallone ever made a good movie that he starred in? His brother has, but American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt gets a 3.2. I wouldn't give it that low. My favorite American Ninjas are the first two. I reviewed all of the American Ninja films. There are 5 of them. Fifth one really had nothing to do with the others other than it starred David Bradley. The first 2 I think are good. The third one I thought was the last. I thought it was time waster decent because of Steve James. Like David Bradley just didn't have the thing for me that Michael Dudikoff did. Like Michael Dudikoff had that Clint Eastwood little coolness to it. David Bradley was kind of vanilla. You know, I've seen worse. I've seen better. Like David Bradley did a film I did like called Hard Justice. I had a couple issues with that film, but David Bradley, I thought that's a better movie than this. But I could watch this easily for Steve James. I think Steve James is fun in this film. Steve James is great in this flick. Really, Steve James is the star of the film. So American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt, I'll watch it for Steve James. And that's what I think that's pretty what I said in my review of that. I didn't watch American Ninja 3. Hell lot better than 4 and 5. But yeah, again, it's because of Steve James. Jackson is bad. Even the plot synopsis said it, because first character to hear about was Steve James' character, Jackson. Jackson is back, and now he has a new partner, karate champion Sean, as he must face a deadly terrorist known as the Cobra. Hey, there's only one Cobra. There's Stallone, who has infected Sean with a virus. Sean and Jackson have no choice but to fight the Cobra and this band of ninjas. They didn't even make $1 million in the U.S. All this trivia for this. The role of David Bradley's character was originally offered to Kurt McKinney, who turned it down for fear of being typecast as a martial arts actor. Well, big mistake on his part, because what the hell did Kurt McKinney do? This is the only American Ninja film to neither have a female love interest nor kill off the villain at the end. I guess he didn't kill him. I guess he knocked him the fuck out, but I didn't think either way about it. The score for the film is mainly just a sample from composer George S. Clinton's previous score for Avenging Force, another Cannon Group movie, which ironically was directed by Sam Furstenberg. Yeah, that's true, actually, now I think about this. That's true. I can watch the film, though. See, a film that gets a 3.3, Monster High. I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna get high. Da, 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 da. 2 aliens steal a doomsday device from another. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. 2 aliens steal a doomsday device from another world, and go to Earth. The device is Mr. Armageddon, a living embodiment of destruction who intends to destroy the planet. A ragtag group of high school students stand in his way. To be honest, that plot kind of sounds fun. It sounds like aliens steal a device that's a living doomsday device, and hey, high school students going to kick its ass. And the VHS cover is actually kind of interesting too, because the VHS cover is a creature who has the earth in his hands like a basketball, and he's about ready to dunk it. 3 point. what was it, 3.3? Haven't seen the trailer to this, but that plot doesn't sound. That sounds like a silly movie, like an offbeat, silly film. I'll give a look to the trailer to this film sometime. Monster High. I mean, just because it's low rate doesn't automatically make it bad. I mean, a lot of times they say that, but once in a while there's been a film like American Ninja 3. I don't think it's 3.2 bad. Monster High, yeah, I'd give it a look. I don't want to talk about every single one. I mean, we got Ministry of Vengeance, which is a 3.3. A minister's family is killed by Arab terrorists, and he takes revenge. Fuck you, Arab, you mess with the power of Christ that compels you. Murder Weapon. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Is this the one I'm thinking of? They lust for revenge. They do it at night, and they're more than lethal. Oh, I think I'm thinking of Lethal. No, is it this? Two daughters of mobsters get out of the sanitarium after having killed a boyfriend in the shower, supposedly cured and on the right track. They hold a party and invite all their old boyfriends, making all of them think there is still hope for a relationship. Then the boyfriends start disappearing one by one. The bulk of this film was shot in 6 days. Gets a okay. The reason I was okay gets a 3.3. The reason I was wondering is there's a movie with Weapon, the title, where it's a woman that kills people with her tits. A friend of mine showed it. A clip on YouTube. This is back in the day in YouTube when you could see that. And it was a movie where a woman killed someone with her tits. She had huge tits and she smothered the guy. He suffocated under titillage. Not a bad way to go. So I'm like, is that film? Didn't say anything about big tits in the synopsis, so I don't know. But hey, what can I say? A tit a day keeps the doctor away. Then you have a film called Underground, aka Underground Terror, which is a 3.4, an urban nightmare. Cover doesn't look too shabby. An angry New York cop is professionally damaged by an unflattering story about him in the paper, written by a nosy reporter with whom he proceeds to butt heads. Then the two join forces to combat a ruthless gang of thugs in the subway, who are led by a recently released mental patient. I don't know. I mean, doesn't sound like the worst movie ever. 3.4 out of 10. I don't know much about it. Laser Mission. Brandon Lee and Ernest Borgnine. A race for world power. Who will succeed, CIA or KGB? Yeah, this is one of the. This is the worst Brandon Lee film I saw. I remember not liking this film at all. Not liking this film at all. I thought this was a really boring movie. Mercenary Michael Gold is sent from the CIA to seize the laser expert Braun in Cuba before the KGB catches him. A recently stolen giant diamond could be used together with Braun's knowledge to construct a laser cannon which could bring power over the whole world. Who will succeed, CIA or KGB, or none of them? A secret agent, a beautiful accomplice, a daring mission to prevent World War III. One thrilling adventure. Thrilling my ass. I remember this being fucking boring as fuck all. With not much action at all. And I would just remember this being a fucking bore fest. And it being the worst Brandon Lee film I saw. I don't know, whenever I review like a Brandon Lee marathon, I would review it, but David Hasselhoff was originally considered for the role that Brandon Lee played. I don't even remember him fighting that much. I mean, why do you get Brandon Lee if you're not going to let him fight that much? But yeah, definitely no Showdown Low Tokyo Rapid Fire. Let's see, some film called Memorial Valley Massacre, which gets a 3.4. I think I saw this once and saw someone review it once. It just, what the hell was it? It was, yeah, it was like some cave boy. Yeah, some, what the hell was it about? Yeah, a killer who lives in a cave, provokes chaos among the campers, unfinished business between him and the ranger of the campground. Yeah, I just remember this being one of those really, really piss poor made slasher movies. And slasher movies were not really a big thing by 1989. I don't know. I don't even remember the movie. Be talking on my ass. Something called Future Force, which gets a 3.4. With David Carradine, judge, jury, executioner. In the future, a cop protects a reporter from an organization of crooked renegade cops who think she knows too much about him. Put by David A. Pryor. Has a cover of some big ass guy who's carrying two big motherfucking guns. Has like a bunch of grenades or shit on a vest. I guarantee you he's not in the movie at all. Yeah, that's what I thought. That name sounded familiar. David Pryor. Is he the same guy? Yes, he is. David Pryor. Oh my god, the guy who directed this is the guy who starred in Deadly Prey. No, that's Ted Pryor. What the fuck? Is there another guy named David Pryor on there? No, that's Ted Pryor. What I'm talking about. But why does it say here? This is David A. Pryor, but he's linked to fucking. He must have wrote or directed Deadly Prey. Yeah, he wrote it. Okay, he wrote Deadly Prey. And directed. That's what he was. So David Pryor wrote and directed Deadly Prey, while Ted Pryor starred in Deadly Prey. And Deadly Prey gets a 6.0. Deadly Prey gets a 6.0. Fucking Deadly Outbreak, where Jess Speedman shoots a guy in the balls and says, "I guess you forgot your bulletproof cup." Kicking ass, taking names is a 4.0. Hard Target has a 6.0. Just a 6.0, not higher. Fucking Cobra. Cobra has a 5.6. Deadly Prey has a higher rating than Cobra. Deadly Prey, that piece of shit movie, fucking stupid, dumb piece of shit movie, has a fucking higher rating than Cobra. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm just going to mention a couple ones just so fucking. So a film called Warbirds, which is a 3.4, a covert military airstrike against rebels in the tiny Mid-Eastern nation goes wrong, leaving one pilot dead, another in enemy hands. Beverly Hills Body Snatchers with Vic Tayback and Frank Gorshin. A doctor and a mortician have teamed up to do reanimation experiments on corpses using gangster money. 3.5, probably too high for that. Chud 2, Bud the Chud, which gets a 3.5. That's way too high for that fucking movie. Had nothing to do with the first Chud film. It tried to be a comedy that wasn't funny. Bud the Chud. I did a rant on that film. Just look up my rant on that film. A couple of teenagers break into a secret government science lab and steal a frozen corpse. You mean like Night of the Creeps? But Night of the Creeps did it better? For a high school prank, and accidentally awakened the corpse, which turns out to be a Chud. No, it's not a Chud! Just a guy with some fucking makeup on him. Named Bud. Like Bud, like Day of the Dead, Bud. Who goes on a killing spree, making his victims also people in fucking makeup. It's up to the teens to stop him. Yeah, and a shitty comedy that's not funny. You want to hear my thoughts? Look up my rant. I ranted on Chud 2, Bud the Chud, because I like the first Chud. Fuck Chud 2. It's almost as bad as Super Chuds. People who know my channel know what I'm talking about. And Gerald Bookwalter made a shitty movie called Robot Ninja, which gets a 3.6. Scientist helps a comic book artist to become the superhero he has created in order to battle a vicious gang of rapists. Good idea. Shitty execution because it's dirt cheap, ultra low budget. Robot that could do a remake. But yeah, Daily Prey, that piece of shit gets a higher rating than Cobra. So it's better than Cobra. It's as good as Hard Target. Gets almost twice the rating of Daily Outbreak. Yeah, Daily Outbreak, yeah, that gets a 4.0. Just beaming kicking ass. Face off against Ron Silver. But Daily Prey, which is so god awful, so bad to laugh at, that gets a 6.0. Bullshit.